welcome in, guys. Welcome in. This is your girl, Coach Shine, and this is the Life with Shine podcast, episode 20 of season 2. So I'm super excited because there has been some time between the last episode and this one. And so I kind of want to kind of just be able to just flow and just freely talk about what has been actually happening lately inside of, just business and my life, my personal life. Because as y'all know, this is a part of the paid and private experience. This is where I get to be transparent and kind of share some updates with you guys and, kind of share some stories that I feel would be valuable and beneficial and to kind of just set the stage for what things would be, right? Um, Here's what I find is very important. You being very strategic in your business and how you move and how you think, how you do things is what sets you apart, right? You got to know that you're in your own race. You're in your own place. You're doing your own thing. Okay? There's going to be so many other things going on around you and just, in general that you just got to say, I'm too busy focused on my own that I'm in my own lane. I'm building my own path. You know, I'm doing something totally different. And that is what sets things in perspective, right? It's just knowing that no one else can do it like you. No one else can be you. No one else can even occupy the space that you do. You have your own way of doing things. And to me, it's like when you could own and claim that you are naturally someone who does things a certain way, does things a different way, and still get paid, pat yourself on the back for that. Pat yourself on the back for that. Because you don't have to do it how other people say it should be done. And let me tell you how. Because, there is going to be something that's going to say what you're doing doesn't make sense, right? There's going to be those little, I don't know, whatever they could be. But you're going to have to tell yourself who you are. These are the moments where you got to remind yourself who you are. You got to keep standing your power, right? You got to know for a fact that you doing things your way is like it's going to be just for you. And this is where you got to make it about you. You got to make it about your personal growth, your personal development. Like I understand the work that I do is for my personal development. And for so many years, I've put a lot of time and energy into people and just, externalizing and putting things outside of me that I had to realize that this is very personal. I have to make sure that I'm doing my path. I'm doing the things that's going to help me elevate, that's going to help me grow. No matter who's trying to cling to me, no matter who's trying to hold on to me, no matter who's doing what, I gotta always keep myself. I gotta always keep my understanding. I gotta always keep myself in the proper place and position and perspective because that's what matters for me is my experience, right? When you make what you're navigating your experience and what you want to experience, right? You get to create your experience on your own terms. And when you have a business that you built in that same regard, big respect for you because you respected yourself enough to say, I did it my way, right? Doing it your way is always going to be better than anybody else's because you can have that much belief in yourself and knowing that you can gain wealth by you actually knowing where your wealth is. See what I'm saying? You know who you are. When you know who you are, you move accordingly, right? You do the things that makes your things make sense. Okay? So taking action looks like you showing up for yourself and your business, you showing up doing the things that works for you. And most times that's just what it is. It's going to look different for everybody, but I know for myself personally, I am a coach, I'm a speaker, I use my voice, I'm a thought leader, I'm a business owner. I'm also someone who understands that I can be myself and still make money. I can still make income. And this is why people hire me, right? I host these trainings because people need to understand how they are doing things in a unique way. That's it. I'm only going to show you that you're unique, and that's it. You're going to do it your way. Cool. Kudos to you. Bravo. Okay. My way is going to work for me because I get to refine it. I get to say so. I get to say this is what it is. I get to clarify it and make it matter, right? I get to make it all matter. That's all it is. I make it matter. So again, my way is going to work because I said so. Okay? I said so. And I will continue to do it and until it shows the evidence. And the evidence is here. But again, people's going to start coming in. They're going to buy in. They're going to purchase. They're going to show you that it is working. But sometimes it takes time. You got to put in the work for yourself before anybody else can. Right? You got to show up for yourself before anybody else can. So I'm in my bit. I'm in my era where I'm standing on building. I'm standing on business. I'm standing on growth. I'm standing on personal development. I'm standing on me just knowing who I am. See what I'm saying? That's what it is. I'm standing on knowing who I am. And yes, yes. I have done some experiences and I have done things that has allowed me to say I can make this clearly known that this is what it is, right? Your experiences are what shape and mold you. They shape and mold you. And I know my time is coming. I know my time is coming to win. I know I'm going to win. I'm going to win. I'm going to win. And I just want it to be about me. I want to make it that personal for me to say I did that. And I didn't make it about nobody else. I wasn't trying to do it against somebody else. I did it because I saw enough of myself to say I deserve this. I deserve this, right? And that's how I feel. I feel like it's not me comparing myself to somebody else's journey. It's more so me saying, I know what I can do. I know what's possible for me. I know what I can create. I know what I can build. I know what I can have. And I'm going to work and do the things I need to do for myself to make it happen. See what I'm saying? So that's just how I see it. And, these are things that I feel have just been showing and revealing to where I can solidify this as what it is. There are some things that's going to happen that's just going to try to just test and see where you're at with it, what you feel about it, and you got to just know that okay, I'm clear on this. I'm clear on what, right? So you can keep things in perspective by you knowing who you are enough to say I can say this works for me. you know, this is what it is. So the more I keep building, the more I keep growing, the more I keep going, it's all gonna work itself out. It's all gonna work itself out. I believe in myself that much. Because one thing I am is I'm a person that loves to take action. I'm a person that loves to learn. I'm a person that loves to grow. I'm a person that loves people as well. But I also know that I got myself. I got to put things in perspective where I don't let nobody else take me off guard, take me off focus, because I'm not losing me. I'm not losing myself in the process. I'm gaining more of myself, if I'm being honest, right? That's the difference. I am gaining more of myself. Some people will try to have a point to prove. I don't got nothing to prove. It's already been proven. It's already been determined. It's already been shown. It's already been revealed. Now it's just me saying, here it is. It is what it is. Right? And I can be like this, chilling. Chilling. Because I know me. I know what I am. I know what I'm capable of. And the bag is secure, baby. The money is flowing. Things is working out. You know, I'm working my system. I'm working my processes and my strategy. I'm working the things that I know is working. And that's the perspective you gotta have, man. When you're moving forward in life, when you're growing, when you're developing as a person, when you're understanding these things, these laws, these things that are happening, and knowing how to move, knowing how to move in respect and regard and understanding. But there is just things in place that you know that okay, cool. Maybe there was some things I could have, done differently. I can acknowledge that. I can see that. I can appreciate that. But I'm not that version of myself. I'm someone that's more aware now. I'm someone who did the best I could with what I had. And if I'm being honest, I only did what was done, what was there. you know. But now I'm very intentional. I'm very more practical. I'm more clear on what I do and the why. You know. So I feel good knowing that because not everything has always been like that. I gotta take the wins for what they is. Not everything was always understood. So I had to gain the experience. But now I'm like, okay, let's make it make sense. Let's make it make all the sense, right? And so for me, it's like, let's grow, let's build, but also let's have a purpose. Let's be intentional, you know. So I'm just grateful for these opportunities to where I get to really solidify my identity, really solidify my brand. Because I look at my brand and I'm like, I've been very consistent in how I show up. I've been very consistent in knowing this is who I am, you know, and that to me is only going to get better with time in just the presentation and just in how I show and this is how I do. But also in knowing that, my influence of people, you know, buying into my work, making things matter, and people doing the things, it is what it is. You know, this is the understanding that my impact is there. That's something I can say clearly and honestly see that is there. So I'm grateful for that. You know, and it is what it is. So seeing your impact, you know, that's what it's about. That's what it's about. You know, because money's fluid, you know, um, and you having a great relationship with yourself, and then honestly speaking, guys, I'm in a season where I'm building things in my material and just like my actual life. I know what direction I'm headed. I know what I need. I know what I truly want, and I'm focused on that. I'm focused enough to know, and how to handle it. And, I know it's going to work itself out. I know it's going to all come together. And that's something I'm very grateful for. You know, there's a shift that happens when you realize, you know, just your worth and what you're capable of and what can be done. And then, knowing that what you are in control of right now. I know I can do things now that makes me feel empowered enough to say I'm being the best I can. I'm also taking advantage of the opportunities and the time and space that I do have to do these things. And honestly, guys, you know, it's just about knowing that you get to determine how much you know, how much you create, you know. And this is why I feel that it puts me in a win-win situation most times, is because I am a creator. You know, I'm someone that actually sees it as me creating, you know, while, you know, most people will see it as just working. but I see it as I'm creating. I'm creating something. I'm building something. Something is happening. There's a creation. There's a purpose. There's a reason, and that creation is always going to reveal. You know, it's going to reveal some substance. It's going to reveal some area. It's going to reveal, the depth and the growth and the dynamics. It's going to be very revealing because that's how I have it set up. I have it set up for a reason. And to me, it's like mostly it's just knowing I care about myself enough to like, you know, to just go through the process and really, elevate and no matter what, just continue growing and taking ownership, because that's what it's about for me now, you know, it's just taking ownership. And I'm just grateful for that because this is the opportunities that allows me to say, okay, once this is at this point, there has to be a breakthrough where I don't have to continue, on the same nature. I can do it in a way that actually matters to me, that makes sense, and doing it in a very fluid way, but that's balanced, that's holistic, that makes everything harmonize and just coming together and it works together cohesively because nothing's being, overlooked, or disregarded. It's just there's an understanding that, when you're in a flow, when there's an understanding of like, I got to look at this thing from a holistic approach, but duality in general, just dual, the dual nature of things, you know, not being too far over this way or not being too far over that way, but just knowing that this is how it is. Like I can see it from an elevated perspective no matter what. That's how I see it. That's how I view it. There's going to be just an opportunity for me to see what it is. And most people will fall and succumb to something totally different or something else. But mine is to like, my nature is to rise. My nature is to grow. My nature is to learn. My nature is to develop and receive. That's it. I'm being honest. You know, that's what it is. I'm here to receive. I'm here to grow. I'm here to learn. I'm here to build. And you know, so being around people that care about you enough to show regard, respect, it matters. So I'm just appreciating where I am right now and knowing that, there's a reason for everything and this is where we get to determine who we become in those moments, you know, solidifying your identity, solidifying who you are as a person. And like I say all the time, developing your character, you know, developing your character. So there's an opportunity for me in this in saying that I know who I am enough to say I gotta do something different. I gotta add something else. And this is where I get to define that. You know. So, there's a opportunity to always upgrade, you know. And I'm just grateful for those opportunities because that's something that I'm going to, really dive into or, pay more attention to or just acknowledge and just give some more insight on because I know that most people, they value this information. They value this research. They value this understanding. And this is where I'm at because I know that, there's always going to be more. There's always going to be opportunities for this level of work. You know, personal development is endless. I'm telling you now, personal development is endless. So if you're focusing on your personal development, your personal growth, you're already on the right path. You already understand something that most people are still trying to figure out. And that's just what it is. And I just gotta say thank God that I'm in this position, that I have the opportunity, that, I have what I do have, and I'm in my right mind. I have my body, I have my system, I have my flow, I have my loved ones, I have people that I care about, I have people that care about me. You see what I'm saying? I have all of those things. So even now, just me appreciating that, because that's growth. That's a level that I can say, oh wow, praise you, God, praise God, because the Lord knows, Jesus Christ, I'm grateful. I'm grateful, guys. So this is just something I kind of wanted to share, that I've been able to kind of move through and just pay attention to and acknowledge. I've gotten some information for my next steps. So I hope this is something for you guys to utilize and move forward on, and just gain perspective and shape your world and how you view it. All of that is what it's about, right? Seeing the opportunities for growth in your life and in your business is what it's about. Okay? So keep learning, keep growing, keep evolving, keep shining. I'll see y'all in the next episode. Take care.